Some people imagine the future, but Elena didn't imagine it. She woke up in it, 15 years ahead, inside a life she never lived. My name is Elena Morris. I was 29 years old the last time I remember closing my eyes. It was a quiet evening. I had just come home from a long night shift at the hospital. I made tea, read a few pages of a book, and fell asleep on my old beige couch, still in my nurse scrubs, exhausted and comfortably wrapped in the familiar warmth of my apartment. Nothing unusual, nothing magical, nothing that warned me I would soon open my eyes in a different world. But when I woke up, everything I knew had vanished. I woke up staring at a ceiling I didn't recognize, smooth, metallic, with a strip of blue light running down the center. I sat up quickly. The bed beneath me felt too soft, too expensive, and the room around me didn't make sense. It looked like something out of a futuristic movie. Clean surfaces, glass walls, floating screens, and silent machines humming gently in the corners. My heart began racing. This wasn't my apartment. I stood up and turned toward the mirror on the opposite wall and froze. The woman staring back at me wasn't 29. She looked at least 44. Her face had matured. Her eyes carried a weight I didn't recognize, and a faint scar marked her chin, a scar I had never seen before. This is not real, I whispered, but the reflection didn't lie. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the room. "Good morning, Elena. Welcome back." My blood ran cold. I wasn't alone. A floating circular device lit up in the corner of the room, projecting a gentle blue glow. It hovered closer. "I am Nora, your neuro-operational residential assistant. It has been 326 days since you were unconscious." My throat tightened. Unconscious? For almost a year? Why? What happened to me? The floating device paused, then replied, "Your injury data is restricted by Level 3 security protocol. Would you like me to request clearance?" Clearance? Protocol? Injury data? What kind of life had I been living? I explored the apartment, or whatever this place was. Every room looked cold and unfamiliar. Holographic screens lit up automatically when I approached. They displayed my name, my face, my age, 44. The kitchen had no stove, only a device labeled Auto Prep. The living room showed news holograms reporting events that hadn't happened in my real life. For the first time, I felt like a ghost walking inside someone else's body. Then I found a door that was locked. A red hologram flashed. "Access denied. Biometrics mismatch." What did that mean? Why wouldn't my own home recognize me? A soft chime sounded. "An incoming call from Dr. Marcus Hale," Nora announced. Before I could ask who that was, a tall, serious-looking man appeared as a hologram in the air. "Elena, you're awake," he said urgently. I stepped back. "Who are you? Where am I?" The man hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. "I'm your neurologist. You've suffered severe memory loss after the incident. Listen to me closely. Do not leave the apartment. Your mind is fragile. You're not ready to face the outside world yet." What incident? What happened to me? Why am I older? The hologram flickered. "I'll explain everything when I arrive. Just stay inside." Then the call ended. I stared at the empty space where his hologram had been. Something was wrong. Very wrong. I returned to the locked door. I placed my hand on the panel again. Access denied. Frustration kicked in, and I slammed my fist against the doorframe. The panel flickered. For a split second, my younger face, 29-year-old me, flashed on the display before glitching away. I gasped. Why would the lock recognize my younger biometric data? I pressed my fingers against the panel again, this time forming the exact shape of how I remember placing my hand on scanner panels back in my old hospital job. The door clicked. It opened. My heart thundered in my chest as I stepped inside. The room was dark, except for a single hologram screen displaying dozens of video logs, each labeled Journal Entry Number. There were 87 of them, all dated between 2032 and 2039. My hand shook as I tapped the first one. It was me, the 40-something version of me, staring into the camera with tired, fearful eyes. She spoke softly. If you're watching this, it means your memory reset again. I don't know which version you are now. 29, 32. Maybe even younger. But listen, they're lying to us. Dr. Hale is not who he says he is. He's using us. Using you. I stopped breathing. My older self continued. You were part of a government project, a time displacement experiment. It was supposed to be temporary, but something went wrong. Now, you're stuck between timelines. I staggered backward. This was impossible. Time displacement? Multiple versions of me? I played the next file. Older Elena looked more terrified than before. You need to escape. Every time they reset your mind, they erase the last year. But I've been leaving these messages so one version of us will finally break out. You have to run before they arrive. The video cut off. A loud bang echoed from the front door. Someone was here. My heartbeat pounded louded in my ears. Elena, your neurologist has arrived. No. I grabbed the small hologram projector from the shelf. I didn't know why, but my older self clearly left this room for a reason and rushed out. The front door slid open automatically. Dr. Hale stepped inside with 2 armed security officers. He looked at me with almost a hungry intensity. Elena, step away from that room. I backed up. What did you do to me? What am I? Some experiment? Dr. Hale tightened his jaw. You're disoriented. That's normal. You should not have opened that room. I tried to run past him, but the officers blocked me. Then, instinctively, I held up the hologram device. It glowed brightly. The officers froze. The device projected a wave of light that deactivated their weapons instantly. Dr. Hale's eyes widened. You still remember how to use it. I don't remember anything, but I'm not staying here. I sprinted past them while the device kept them stunned. The apartment door slid open and I ran out into the hallway. It wasn't a hallway. It was a glass tunnel hanging 50 floors above a neon-lit futuristic city. Cars flew through the air. Outside, giant screens advertised products I'd never heard of. Drones hovered overhead. And in the center of the skyline stood a massive tower with the logo Neuralink Corp. My stomach dropped. That was the same logo I saw in the video logs. They owned me. I ran. The city was overwhelming. Bright lights, crowded streets, floating vehicles. Everything looked too advanced, too unfamiliar. People stared at me as I passed, maybe because I was barefoot, shaking, and wearing hospital-like clothing, or maybe because they recognized me. I ducked into a side alley to catch my breath. The hologram device buzzed and suddenly projected a map. It highlighted a location labeled Safe House. My older self had planned this. I followed the map, avoiding drones, ducking behind walls when police scanners passed by. Then I reached a small abandoned subway entrance, the only thing in the city that looked familiar. I walked down. At the bottom was a metal door marked by a symbol I remember seeing in the videos. I opened it. Inside sat a man who looked exactly like... No. Impossible. He looked like my father. But my father died when I was 21. He stood up slowly. "Elena, you finally made it."